1. There we go. What's up, Paul? Here we are for another 30 days of thought. Today, we're going to be doing Two Forks, which I love this passage. This is great. I mean, I think we've all gone through these kind of situations where we've had to make a big decision. Of course, I'm Andrew Berman, as you know, and this is my good buddy, Paul Lucido. Paul, thank you so much again for making this happen today.
I really appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to these Tuesday sessions. Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah. So let's see. You want to kick it off for us? Sure. Two Forks, and before we do it, something. If anyone's just, they haven't watched this before, Paul and I have been going through our buddy Jay Doran's book, 30 Days of Thought. 30 Days of Thought. You read a passage, you write about that passage, and then you record a video. And the book actually, gives you some guidance on how to record that video. But really what the book does more than anything is it kind of allows you to get into your mind. And more than, it's kind of like, I originally got involved to be more comfortable with being comfortable, more comfortable being uncomfortable. But it's, and I thought that was really specifically just about video, but it's not. It's actually my thoughts. It's actually, it allows me to be more comfortable about my own thoughts. So Troy Williams wants to know where to purchase the book. Listen, Troy, Amazon.com. You go to Amazon.com. 30 Days of Thought. It's on there. But thank you for joining us. Is that one of your friends, Paul?
Yeah, so Troy works for Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. He's awesome. He's done his own videos. He's very comfortable in his skin, I can tell you right now. And he kind of falls a little bit into the millennial category, but he's a little bit older. So I've invited a few of you guys. I actually sent a Facebook message out earlier, private messaging. Hi, Christine.
Hey.
Put out a message out there just to invite people. So, as Andrew and I get our footing on this, speaking of footing, we're going to talk about that. So look, let's just dive into this really quick. We'll go ahead and tee it up. In so many words, I think where Andrew was going is this book is thought-provoking. Again, I always tell people, Jay Doran, he's a highly philosophical young man. He's wrote some great passages, parables, similes, essays, whatever you want to call them. He's done a great job. And so I picked this one this time. I think Andrew picked the last. No, I think I picked the last one, but I also decided we'll go with this one. It's called Two Forks. Okay. Now, here it is. This is all going to be predicated on our footing. You've got a left fork and you've got the right fork. The left fork is alluring and tempting, as I put here. The right is to enlightenment. It requires courage. It requires taking responsibility for your actions and just kind of, moving in that direction. So yes, there's some metaphor here, but what Jay is basically saying is this, and I'll tee it up really quick. This is kind of what my take was. We tend to climb uphill to the road of the left. The left is the selfishness, the self-loathing. It's, as Jay so well put it, it's a predominant inebriation, right? It's the path of temptation. It's easy to go that route. It's literally the path of least resistance for most people because you can fall into that rut. The right fork, on the other hand, is typically about making the choice, having the courage and the fortitude to pursue your dreams. Now, one of the things that Jay talks about here, and I think this will be a good platform for us, is we, you, I, many of us out there talk about the knowingness. We know what the right thing to do is, yet so many of us never quite reach that enlightenment. And Jay calls it the abyss, where the dreams are never realized. And I think that's where I want to start right there. How do you get out of the left and go more toward the right? And I'm not talking politically, folks, so please don't start throwing darts here. That's the disclaimer right there. We're just literally talking about essentially, many of us have our toe or our foot pretty well planted on the left, and we're trying to ease out of it and move toward the right. But it's very difficult to do. It's not an easy thing. And many of us have been there. I always use the analogy when I was raising my kids, you take a bow and arrow, you take the arrow out of the quiver, that's one of your kids, and you aim it as best as you can toward a goal, right? hopefully the arrow just sails through and hits the bullseye. But a lot of times the arrow goes off and it might find its way back. Sometimes it gets stuck in a tree along the way, and it's very difficult to pull it out. So we all have been there. And what I really like about this is Jay makes you really think about it. You know, he says here, and I actually kind of put this down and see if you agree with me, Andrew. Jay is saying, burn the ships behind you. Just leave them behind you. Yeah. And I'm saying, metaphorically, leave the metaphorical trappings behind you. Unleash yourself from that stuff, and take responsibility, you know, going forward for what may come, what's ahead of you, and just kind of face it. It's like facing a bad dream, right? You got to face it down, except in this case, you're facing good dreams. You're trying to achieve success, whether it's monetary, whether it's personal, whether it's enlightenment, you know, in a relationship, whatever it might be that you're trying to accomplish. The idea is there's more work that comes with moving down that direction versus basically, you know, jumping on over to the other side. Yeah, I've said enough. I would like to get some of your thoughts on.
By the way, Christine commented she took the right fork, and man, did she take that right fork?
Yeah, going all in, right, Christine? You went all in, and that's what Jay is basically saying.
Well, Christine knows.
Like Andrew and I are doing. We're going all in on this video right now.
Well, so here's an interesting thing. Like there was a time a few years ago where I had to make a decision. And I had a dream, and that dream actually is something that, and I don't know, maybe as a friend of mine actually who might be watching this, who remembers actually, you know, this analogy and this dream that happened. So I was in a transitional phase of my career, and I was going actually to a new business venture, and I couldn't make the jump. I had difficulty making the jump, and I had a dream. I had a dream actually that I was on a dock, and there was the boat. I love boating, so there's a boat. Actually, my 1 foot on the boat, 1 foot on the dock. The boat starts to leave, and I've got 1 foot on the dock, 1 foot on the boat. What do you think happens? Plop! Right into the water. I fall. You can't actually, and to Jay's point, you got to burn the boats. You know, you have to fully leave actually the left. You know, you can't have a foot in the left. You have to go all in, and that's how you actually you know, achieve what you want to achieve. That's how you reach enlightenment. That's how you get to that next level. And then let's see, we have you might know this better than I would. Troy said, is this book somewhat based on or tied to principles of Stoicism?
Stoicism. I don't know, Troy. I'm going to need to do my homework on that before I just answer that question. I'm not 100% sure what Jay based this book on. I think a lot of these are his own thoughts that he's pondered, and he just kind of has assembled. There's an assemblance of these, like I said, these parables. But let me look into that, and I'll get back to you on that. Maybe that's something we can have a conversation about. To me, this is just really about making choices in life. Let's just break it down. Let's just do the reductionist thing here. Let's just break it down to its bare bones. We all know, you know, we know about the little guy on the left shoulder and the little guy on the right shoulder whispering, "Hey, come my way, come my way." We all know that, right? Most of us, you know, if you're like me, you grew up with that most of your life, you know, always kind of playing into, you know, the devil and the angel kind of thing. I, for lack of a better way to describe it. But at the end of the day, there's a balance. It's okay to have some fun on the left side. It's okay to indulge in some temptations every now and then, as long as you don't get yourself stuck there, as long as you don't find yourself literally committing to that and losing sight of where you should be or where you could be. You know, Christine was just kind of chiming in, and I know I follow a lot of her posts. And you know, she's all in. She's always a positive. And let me tell you, there's something to be said about being positive all the time. It gets very infectious. It helps people who are not so positive start to rethink their game plan. How come it could happen for these people? It's not happening for me. Well, a lot of it is because you're not taking the right actions to getting to that point in your life. we can sit back and dream all day. When I was in the engineering field, and I was for a number of years, believe it or not, prior to my 22 years of being in the mortgage industry, there was an old saying, sometimes you got to shoot the engineers and start production. Because what happens is it's paralysis by over-analysis. You get to a point where you overthink it and you never really take action. So for me, a lot of what I've done in my life, I'll speak from my own experiences, some of the successes I've actually had is I've just dove in and started swimming, okay? Now, you could put your toe in the water and figure it out a little bit, make sure it's tepid, get in, start to, wade, tread, and then swim. Sometimes you just dive in and, it's like the old adage, you fake it until you make it. In the world we're in, and I go back to, the recent article we just talked about, living on video. Everybody's on video now. Everybody's got a platform to share their thoughts, share their ideas. They got great books like this one right here that Jay put together, which Jay, again, I'm very proud of you. And when you read all this stuff, it gets into under your skin. It kind of seeps in, it marinates, and you go, you know what? Maybe I need to do better. Maybe I need to take a look at myself and see if I'm really making the right choices. And the right choices are usually the most difficult choices. There's a lot of freight that comes with making the right choice, as there's a lot of freight that comes with making the bad choices. So,
agree. Yeah, great stuff, man. So listen. I think for next week, do you have a passage that you've picked out for next week?
I have not, and I think I'm going to leave that one to you. But I want to make sure that we are really, doing our job in digesting and analyzing some of these analogies that Jay has put together. I look forward to comments. If you guys have comments or thoughts, please chime in, leave them for us to review. Let us know if you think these analogy or these book reviews that we're doing, these discussions are worth their salt, that you guys are getting something out of it. Obviously, we can't go on and drone about it, but the reality of it is we're just trying to grab little pieces of this, find the nugget of truth, share it with you, and more importantly, inspire you to do what we're doing. Pick up the book and read it. But that would be about all I've got to really say on this particular subject, Andrew.
Yeah, I think you nailed the. You've got some great actually texture to this topic. I mean, to me, you're by keeping your foot in the left, you're not able to take off. You're not able to fully actually embrace, the full opportunities in your life. That is the right path. But so listen, going forward for next week, and I didn't read this section, but I want to do cultural alignment. Cultural alignment. I feel like it's I don't know what specifically he's talking about here, but if we know Jay, we could pretty much figure out where he's going to go with something like that. And I think it's probably going to be core to a lot of the teachings that we're learning here. So
I love that, and I like the subject you picked. And something I wanted to say, because I know you and I and Jay were chiming back and forth on, I want to say Sunday. Jay, I want to be clear about something. I'm still trying to get my foot out of the left side, okay, buddy? So it isn't that easy. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to walk it. And so thank you for, once again, inspiring us to try to make those choices, to take a leap of faith, to be courageous and do those kinds of things. It's and most of us struggle with that each and every day. I really believe that. So
gotta burn the ships.
Burn the ships. Leave those trappings behind you, man. Leave the baggage at the door, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, my friend. I'm enjoying this. And again, if there's any questions, please send it to us. Also, if you guys would be so kind to indulge the recent post, Living on Video, I think a lot of what was written, and my daughter Amanda actually helped me edit that and put some polish on it. It is actually a quick read, but it kind of touches a little bit of everything we're discussing, and very much in alignment with what Jay has been saying. So I look forward to getting some comments on that. And Andrew, got to tell you, love doing this with you, brother.
Love it too, man. It's great stuff, man. All right, and with that, we are going to conclude the broadcast. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.